One sign you are chronically stressed is if your sex drive has plummeted and if you don't feel like having sex, or a loss of libido, or maybe you just don't fancy your partner anymore, but that's another issue. Me personally, I currently don't really have that problem, mainly because my partner, she's a borderline nymphomaniac, so I have to try and keep up with her most of the time. And I generally have quite a high sex drive anyway, and very rarely feel like I will ever not feel like having sex, for example. So that's a kind of like interesting situation between us, that I'm figuring out, which is quite fun. Um, but anyway, back to the point. Our fight or flight response is designed to kick in so that we can cope with an immediate threat, danger, or a physical or mental challenging situation. This response is due to the activation of our sympathetic nervous system, and is an unconscious way that our brain tries to help and protect us or prime us for aggression or for a physically demanding task. This response is useful and can be trained with heavy weight training. You can kind of train it with most types of training, but heavy weight training is better at it because usually when we're trying to shift heavy load, there's a fear to it. However, you need to be able to recover and switch off from this response for it to be really beneficial, and for you also not to slip into the chronicity of stress and depression. What happens with heavy weight training is that we get a massive spike in your anabolic hormones, which also prime us for sex and arousal as well. You will get this more so compared to like cardio or HIIT. This response from the sympathetic nervous system inhibits our bodily functions that aren't needed, like digestion or having an erection, or those that have that give you feelings, sexual feelings. If this state of prolonged stress or perceived threat continues, a whole lot of problems can occur from this lack of relief from stressful situations as well. Our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short, gets activated to try and help us cope with this ongoing stress. What has happened now in modern life is we've been wired to sustain this long period of stress that has us set in fight or flight mode for far too long, so days, months, even years. We are overstimulated. Activation of the HPA axis results in an increase in cortisol, which is our main stress hormone. I know I bang on about cortisol quite a bit. Cortisol is very useful in the right situations and at the right times of the day. However, this overactivation of the HPA axis raises our blood sugar levels and raises our blood pressure and inhibits our immune system also. These high cortisol levels are linked with anxiety. Cortisol also inhibits testosterone, the primary male sex hormone, which is responsible for sex drive, libido, and can contribute to blood flow changes that cause an erection. These chemical reactions and hormone reactions also occur in women. Women also produce testosterone in the adrenals, but obviously their primary hormone is growth hormone and estrogen. Be more proactive about your stress reduction.